Hey everyone, today I want to go through the trade from July 14th. A lot of people in the community took part in that one. We thought it was really awesome, even though it was a tricky example where a few things contradicted each other, but you can really see that people are getting better and better, and that makes me super happy to see again and again. And in any case, when we go through the trade, we can see that up here we definitely have our targets first. Especially with the ES, if you look more closely, you can see that we have stacked highs. That doesn't happen by accident. There's usually a reason why they don't take out this high. Above all, we can see that the candle shoots up here, stops just before it, and then comes back down. That's exactly why our market update yesterday was a bit different than usual, because it was also an exceptional example. And if we now move to the 930 price, which was here anyway, then you would know that we were looking for a long here. The first signs of this were that we had the data lows here and here exactly. You can see it's just chopping around the whole time. It wasn't really a time when I wanted to take a trade. When we came down here, you can see that we did take out the data lows, but we didn't get a CST. On the second attempt, the CST failed again, and on the third, we finally got the CST. Here, I would say it's also correct if you want to enter at market to use a slightly tighter stop and then play out the trade that way. I'm not really a fan of that kind of thing. I'd rather place a limit order here, or in my case, I placed it here. I always keep my stop below the SMA, and my target, as always, was the first formed PD wave. As you can see, I got filled here. We made an internal SMT and closed above it again. From that moment on, from here, I was already at break even because I didn't want this low to be breached anymore. You could have also placed the low like this. I moved it to break even right away. This right here would have been a perfect point to take partial profits. However, I didn't want to take partials yet at that risk-reward ratio. I told myself I'm going to hold the trade. Either the take profit gets hit or break even, and then you can see it briefly came back here to the IAT. As I said, this low needs to stay protected. And then you can see we moved up here, hit the target, and that was the end of the trading day for me. All in all, an extremely nice trade. If someone doesn't need such a high risk-reward ratio, they can do it the same way I did with the same limit order. But if you exit here at a 1-to-2 ratio, you can see you would have caught the extremely quick move and would have been out of the trading session right away. However, I wanted to go for this risk-reward ratio again because this target was actually very obvious, especially if we zoom out here. You can see we have a nice buy model, took out the data lows, had 2 failed CSTs, and on the third attempt, a valid CST. Here you can place a limit order, and then the trade worked out beautifully. We also had a nice 90-minute SMT, and here there are 2 possibilities. Either you're like me and say I don't need to catch every move, instead I want to go more in a sniper direction. Or there are people who say, I always want to enter the market, I want to be part of every move, and I play more with the stops and the risk-reward ratios, which are always different. That's not a problem either. Your backtesting will simply tell you that. Just backtest as much as you can so that you collect data. And once you've done that, your journal will simply describe, or rather explain, what exactly you need to do. An example of this is, for me, I just know that I'm often in the move of the day. That's the case in 80% of my trades, which is why I hold them longer now. It used to be different. Back then I was often in good moves, but more in a scalping direction. Let's say, for example, with shorts, you enter here, put your stop above here, and then you catch a move like this. In that case, for example, it was better for me to work with risk-reward ratios, CRVs. But now that I've increasingly understood how to be part of the move of the day, it's simply the case that we let the trades run longer for that reason. But as I said, there's no right or wrong here. Look at your journal, see what your journal actually says, and then adjust accordingly. I can promise you that your trading will definitely improve as a result. If you have any questions about this trade, feel free to write them in the comments. I'll answer all questions, and if needed, I can also make another video. Otherwise, I'd say see you in the next video, and ciao ciao.